Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Onsite Renovation Group. It's September 4th, 2018. We're here at 1860 South Gordon Street Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, with my good friend Don DeRosa Malhar Bhagat. I am Dustin Griffin. We're also here with Malhar's wife, Danielle. The Onsite Renovation Group is sponsored twice a month by Baker Collins. They're a hard money lender. They can fund your project in days, not weeks. In fact, you'll get to hear from Joseph Castaneda in just a little bit. He'll do a brief intro and tell you a little bit about their company and how he can fund deals like this. Also, to remind everybody, we meet on the first and third Tuesday of every month at real job sites, such as this one. Malhar's property here, I believe, is almost complete. Not quite. I think he's going to finish it up by the end of the month. We'll find out more in just a little bit. Also, a lot of people want to watch our replays. We used to broadcast these live on Facebook, but we're now recording them in HD and throwing them up on Facebook later. So you can check us out at facebook.com/OnsiteAtlanta. That's facebook.com/OnsiteAtlanta. We also throw them up on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AtlantaREIA. That's youtube.com/AtlantaREIA. And we've also started putting them up on our website. So you can view them at onsite.atlantareia.com. That's onsite.atlantareia.com. So there's no reason to miss any of these replays. If you can't be here and see some of these projects, you can go back and watch these. There's a lot to be learned for sure. So again, we're at 1860 South Gordon Street Southwest in Atlanta with Malhar and Danielle Bhagat. So we're going to get started. So before we get started, I'm just going to pan around and show you the neighborhood real quick. It's a little bit of a busy road. A lot of the houses here have not been rehabbed yet, but a lot of them have. So you can just kind of take a quick peek at some of the neighbors. This neighborhood has a lot of potential. So it looks like he may be doing one of the first rehabs here, not in the neighborhood, but in the immediate vicinity. I thought I'd pan around and show you that real quick before we get started. We got a good crowd here today. Everybody's gathered here outside, and we are about ready to get started. All right, everybody, welcome to the Onsite Renovation Group. We appreciate you guys all coming out today. We're not broadcasting live, but I am recording this, and we'll put it up on our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and our Atlanta REIA website as well. So I just want to let everybody know that if you ask questions today, try to talk into the fuzzy mic here. That way we pick you up, but we're all wired for sound. So hopefully you guys will have a lot of good questions today. But before we get started, before I do the introductions, I like to do what we do in church. And that's where everybody kind of turns around and says hello to your neighbor. Meet somebody new real quick. You got mind doing that real quick? Meet a new friend real quick. Hey man, how you doing? I'm Dustin Griffin.
Hey Dustin, I'm Malhar.
Hey Danielle, I'm Dustin Griffin. Hey Don, nice to meet you. How you doing? This is Chrissy, my wife. This is Joseph Castaneda.
What's going on?
Yeah. Cynthia's over here in the shade.
There's an indicator for the market also.
All right. Well, again, welcome everybody to the Onsite Renovation Group. You guys can go ahead and unmute your mic. Just remember, you're going to be hot. So let's try to talk all in turn. All right. The Onsite Renovation Group meets. I can hear you. You're good. Meets on the first and third Tuesday of every month at live job sites. Sometimes they're brand new, where we haven't even started the demo yet. Sometimes the demo's been completed. Sometimes they're halfway finished. Sometimes they're almost finished. Sometimes they're fully staged. It just varies from month to month. So we highly encourage you to come check them out and see what other investors are doing. They may be brand new investors who are doing their first deal. They may be intermediate investors who've been doing it for quite a while, or they may be highly seasoned rehabbers who do, 100 deals a year. So it just depends. We view all types of different rehabs, whether they're buying wholes or fixing flips, you name it. We'll go see it. So some of these deals are our deals, some of them are our students' deals, some of them are our friends' deals. So if you've got a property you'd like to maybe have us come out and see that you're doing, please let us know. But again, we meet on the first and Thursday of every month at noon. So we hope you can check us out. And again, if you have to leave early and miss some of this, you can always watch these replays and a lot of the other projects we've done up on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and the Atlanta REIA webpage. So before we get started, before I introduce our host today, we've got a sponsor in the house. This is Joseph Castaneda. He's with Baker Collins. He is a hard money lender. So he funds deals like this. He didn't fund this deal, but he funds deals just like this. So he wanted to share a few words with you about how he can fund your first deal or your next deal.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. My name is Joe Castaneda. I'm a bilingual account executive with Baker Collins. What we do is we specialize in funding deals like this, any type of fix and flips, rentals, new construction, and commercial. Guys, listen, don't let certain funds keep you away from something like this. This is beautiful. I mean, I must say. So, we start off at 7.9 interest rates, right? 10% down of the total project cost, which means purchasing and acquiring the property and giving you 100% of the rehab. Guys, it's real simple. Don't make it this big thing, okay? So, guys, if you guys have any questions during the actual tour, feel free to reach out to me. I will be passing out business cards as well. We are local in Midtown and Atlantic Station, so if you want to visit me in our office, you're more than welcome to, okay? So, guys, listen, you're at a great project site. Jot down any notes, whatever the investors, the mentors are saying, write it down. It's very important, all right? Well, and Dustin, thank you for having us here as well. Appreciate
All right.
it.
For the folks at home watching who don't get your card, tell them how to reach you.
Our phone number is 404-599-5990, and it's bakercollins.com.
Very good. Thank you. Let's give it up for Joseph for being here today.
Yes.
All right, let's start the introductions. This is Danielle Malhar Bhagat.
Hey.
This is their property. Welcome, guys. We appreciate you hosting us here today. This is my good friend Don DeRosa.
Howdy.
He's a local coach and mentor and rehabber himself, and we host this meeting every month. So I'd like to start off by having you just kind of introduce yourself and, each of your roles in this project.
Sure.
I heard earlier that it sounds like she does most of the work, which is
She does most of the work. Yes, that's
On
very
site.
true.
Yep.
On site. So, what's up, guys? I know some of you, most of you, I don't know, new faces, which is kind of cool.
It is cool.
My name is Malhar Bhagat. I've been investing in real estate for 10 years now. This is actually our 11th year. So we've done over 250 deals and typically have anywhere from 10, 15 properties in contract, under contract, in inventory, etc. We're a heavy cash buyer, a real cash buyer. We can close in as little as 3, 5, 7 days. So definitely get to know us. I started this business off with basically what I say, a credit card and a dream. My very first deal was actually a credit card and a hard money lender. It was right around 2008. As we all know, the market was kind of crashing at the time. So there were hardly any hard money lenders out there. So my very first deal, I paid 6 points and 15% interest. So when he said 7.9%, I was like, man,
Wow.
Times have changed.
Yes, they have.
Times have changed. And so, you needed a down payment, so I used a credit card to get the down payment for that particular property. So that was my first deal, and 10 years later, we've done over 250 deals. The roles and how it works. So our team consists of 12 people now. Me and Danielle, and then we have 10 other people. 5 of them are carpenters. We have 2 crews that run on site. So a lot of people have already complimented the shutters. You can't buy these shutters. They're custom made by our carpenters. Pretty simple. You can ask Danielle the details. I handle a lot of oversee the acquisitions, the financing, obviously any legal or accounting issues, and then sales is kind of where I oversee. Danielle is all construction. Danielle is also a licensed general contractor. She joined us in the business about 5 years ago now, and she's kicking ass. I mean, big time. So as a result of that, we've been able to grow our business tremendously. Just in the last 3 years, she's been managing all of our projects, but she recently became a GC. So if you want to talk a little bit about
Before you do,
that,
Yeah.
since we're talking about you, where are you from? You're not from Atlanta originally. Didn't you move down here from somewhere else?
Yeah. So I'm originally from, grew up in New Jersey, lived in New York before I came to Atlanta. Investing in Atlanta for 10 years, but was doing that remotely for 5. So about half the time we've been investing, we've been in Atlanta. The other half, we have not been in Atlanta. And so we were investing remotely in 7 markets around the country. Atlanta grew to be our biggest one, so we said, let's go get down on the ground and blow this up big time. So our biggest growth has been over the last 5 years.
Yeah. So when you say investing remotely, what do you mean by that?
We were buying renovations remotely. We were wholesaling remotely. We were doing buy-in rentals remotely as well. I still own rentals in other cities, namely Indianapolis and Kansas City. We own some rentals. We obviously own quite a bit of rentals in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. I wouldn't have moved myself, my family, my business down here if I didn't really believe in this market. I think this market has a tremendous amount of growth opportunity. It is one of the largest, if not arguably the largest city in the Southeast. In the Southeast, by far around the country, is one of the lowest price, most affordable areas of the country, and that's why I really believe in the growth of it. So.
All right, now I heard you say you're you got your general contractor license
right,
recently?
yeah.
So introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, my name's Danielle. We're husband and wife team, and that was the big shift for our company. Our company is M2 Rest. You can find us online. We're big on Facebook. We like to share live videos. That's been a big thing that Malhar's been doing the last few months, and we're getting a lot of attention because of that. And it gives us the opportunity to share projects like this at different phases. So we actually shared a couple of live videos online about this one where it was completely gutted out, and then when it was completely done framing and all of its rough-ins, its mechanicals, its electrical, its plumbing was in, and we were ready to sheetrock. So you can see the different phases of that project in those videos. But yeah, that was a big shift for us in our company 5 years ago. It's when we got married. We have tattoos 5 years ago, and then it's
a good reminder. Keep your wedding date tattooed on you, right?
It's hard to forget.
Bad with dates, so we always remember that way. And then we pretty much decided, based off of the growth that he experienced in Atlanta up to that point, and we were looking for a change. We were tired of New York City living. We decided to come move here. So very quickly after we got married, we moved here. I left my career in the nonprofit world, and then I felt out what would feel good in real estate investment for me. It took us a while to feel it out. You know, being married and a husband and wife team and working in business it does not come easy. It takes finding your footing, your grounding. A lot of couples often ask us about that. How do you make it work? One of the big things for us was divide and conquer. We had to find our roles. And it just so happened that I really loved the building. I loved the design. I loved being on site. So all those things I gravitated towards, and he loves it as well. It's just he likes to be a little bit more removed from it, and bringing the deal together is what Malhar is all about. So it's the acquisition, it's the sale, it's the negotiating, it's understanding the market and understanding the value, and then how you bring it all together to make a deal happen. So that's what juices him. And he was really clear about that. I figured out what juices me, which is the actual taking a dilapidated house and converting it into this. In 3 weeks, I'll look a whole lot even tighter. And so we divide and conquer. And that's how we make it work for our life and for our business. And so yes, I'm a GC, so I manage the projects on site. We've got our carpenters, so we do a lot of things in-house. I also design all the projects, and then we come together on the sales side to market them and sell them.
If you don't mind asking, just for the benefit of the group, how difficult is it to get your GC license?
So anything I do completely and holistically. So I did everything that was at my disposal. So I did an online program classes, I did in-person couple days classes, and then I studied for months. So overall, I set a goal, and about a year later, it came together. So with that said, I've known people who focused and, had tunnel vision and got it done within, a few weeks.
Really?
So because I was running projects such as this while I was doing that, I wasn't able to do that. But, I just focused. I got it done. And everyone asked, how hard is the test? I'm not going to lie. It was hard.
It's open book.
It's an open book test, and so people think it's easy, but it's a time game. It's a mind game, and it's a time. You have to be able to manage your time, and you have to know the material in order to find the answers. So I just dove into it and became all about it for a while.
Well, just out of curiosity, I've heard a lot of people say it's difficult. What's hard about it?
Yeah. Well, it's the pressure of being on the time clock, and then also as much studying and preparation as you do, it's impossible for anyone to have a command over all of that content, right? There's 13 books. You have to wheel them in. There's so many books. So to know which books to access for what information is a skill set all on its own.
Really?
Because one question, there could be 4 different books that you could possibly get the answer, and there could be contradictory information in them. So it's knowing how they phrase what questions and what specifically they're looking for. So I would highly recommend, there's American Contractors, there's a 2-day class, recommend that, that's great. And then there's tons of online programs as well.
Yeah, my wife too is interested.
Yeah.
And she's like you, she just loves the creativity and being on site and getting the job done. So she's actually entertaining the thought.
A lot of people ask me, but it doesn't make sense for everybody.
Right.
You know, like
me, that makes sense for me.
As you're an investor, you don't need to have a contractor's license. There are plenty of contractors who do. It just happened to work because I had an interest and a skill set in that area.
Yeah. Is there a lot of math involved?
Yeah, there's a good amount. Not as much as I would have thought. It's really code. It's knowing your code. And knowing how to break down the content of the questions and all that.
Now, when you say code for certain areas, codes for the state?
So there's IRC, and then there's specific Georgia international residential code, and then there's also state-specific Georgia amendments. So really having both of those, and then they change the code, every couple of years as well. So, just taking that class is really the number one thing that I would recommend to
One of the
everybody.
other things I'd just add to that is you have to have 2 years of experience.
Yes.
So she had experience with all of our other projects.
Absolutely.
And so they look for references to verify that experience. And she used our company as a reference. Because we've been building for so long.
Yeah.
And it can be a combination of education, like if you have some education and experience, and depending which license level you go after, there are different requirements for that level of education and experience.
Good information. That's probably going to open it up some more questions just a little bit, because we haven't talked to anybody thus far that was actually a GC themselves rehabbing. They bring the GC out with them, but you're one of the few that we've met that's actually a GC.
Well, the biggest thing for us, and the reason why we wanted to do it, is because we were so active as investors. I was on the job site, so the need for a middleman, wasn't necessary, and in fact incredibly frustrating for me for a few years. So it was me outsourcing so many things from our scopes from a GC to the point where a GC became no longer necessary. So it made sense at that point for me to become a GC.
Absolutely.
So,
one thing I'd add to that is, a lot of people, they hire general contractors and they think that you have to have a really tight knowledge base about construction. I think what me and Danielle have realized is that you need an excellent project manager.
Yes.
Right? And so we're thinking about right now, because we want to hire a project manager underneath Danielle, and she was saying, we want construction. I see construction as a skill set, and I look at project management as a personality type, so to speak. And so what we were often finding when we were hiring GCs is the plumber would be done with their work, and then the electrician would get a call, which is a 2-day, 3-day, sometimes 4-day lag time, and our projects were taking longer versus her ability to queue people up and then moving them around if something gets delayed. So proactive versus reactive, essentially, right? And so that was one of the biggest pieces. We do some of our projects. Our fastest project we did this year was 105 days from close to close, and that was a full rehab. Out in East Atlanta. Nice. This one will be something similar since we started the renovation as well.
You started this in June?
Yeah, we started this in June. And we should be done in about 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, before we get into this particular property, can you tell us a little bit about this area and how you found this property?
Yeah.
What do you think
absolutely.
about this neighborhood?
Yeah, so this area is the neighborhood of Westview. This is not the historic part of Westview, which is good. Historic districts take a little bit longer for permitting and have much more stringent requirements. However, this area, Westview, is hot. It's super hot right now. Actually, we got this from a couple of wholesalers that are actually here right now.
Oh yeah? You want to point them out to us?
Yeah, that's Caleb, and then Andy is behind your truck right now, Dustin.
Okay.
You can't see him. He's on the phone. He's probably calling me right now to sell me a deal. But he's
I
getting
know
my
Andy. Yeah.
voicemail. But no, so we bought this from Caleb and Andy, and you know, they brought it to me initially. I told them what worked. It didn't work out. I always place an offer and then I substantiate my position with them. And it didn't work out, so they went with another buyer initially. And so, you know, I figured, okay, no worries, you know, on to the next one. I don't really worry or try to make deals come together. If they make sense, they make sense. If they don't, move on. What we really concentrate on is how many leads can we bring into our office on a daily basis, right? So we don't try to make deals work. They have to work or they don't. A couple of weeks passed by, and I guess they had one of their buyers that said they were going to be able to close, not close. And so they called me up and they said, hey, we need to move really quickly on this. Would you still be interested? And I told them where I could possibly come in, because I kept calling him about this one, and I thought, you know, maybe I gave him an offer that was too low on this, because I think I could make the numbers work. So I kept calling him, and so he called me back and said, hey, this other guy's not going to be able to close. Can you get this done in, like, I think it was 5 or 7 days? And so I told him, yeah, we'll get it done. And so that's kind of how it came together.
Nice. Now, as busy as you are and doing as many deals as you are you generating your own leads, or are you relying on wholesalers and others to bring you deals?
We do both. We do quite a bit of marketing ourselves. We do direct mail, cold calling, networking ourselves. We get them from real estate agents, and we still also work with wholesalers as well. So we do quite a bit of work. You know, we have a multi-tiered, multi-pronged strategy. I'll be honest with you. You know, getting Dustin giving me a ring about doing on-site renovation, I looked at that as, yeah, I'm down for that. Why? Because now I'm in front of 40 people marketing our business, or 50 people marketing our business, and getting a lot more people to know who we are, that we're real buyers. Right?
Speaking of which, deals at M2Rest is our email, so we're constantly buying and selling.
Yeah. What does M2Rest stand for, by the way?
M2 stands for Malhar and Meg. Me and my sister started the company, M2, and then REST stands for Real Estate Solutions Team. Okay. So we believe in a full service residential real estate model, which is essentially, we won't do construction for anyone else, but for seller facing, we're able to refer leads. I'm also a licensed real estate agent. I don't list properties on my own, but some of the leads that come in, they want to sell, but they don't want to sell at the price I want to buy at. So I'm able to outsource that lead to another agent and get a referral fee legally, right? So
now, you were talking about you do a lot of your own marketing.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, for the benefit of the group, how much do you typically spend a month on marketing?
A very significant amount.
I want these guys to hear it.
Probably about $15,000 a month.
Okay, but look at the volume he's doing.
Yeah.
How many a month are you doing?
We're doing now. We're probably up to about 5 to 7 a month.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard. I heard you say about 12 or so in inventory at any given time.
Yeah. So, but we also scaled our model to that, to be able to handle that influx of leads. We constantly have leads coming in left and right, and so our acquisitions team is, we have a couple of partnerships on the acquisition side, but one person in-house, Taylor, who's here right now.
Right over there.
Right over there. So Taylor's on our team, and so if you guys want to if you have any deals, talk to her. That's why she's also here. And then we also have another team that we work with, which Taylor's also a part of. It's a joint business. We have 4 people on that team doing acquisitions as well. Because when you have those leads coming in,
you got to be on top of them.
Yeah, you got to be on top of them. Exactly.
How big is your team?
So we have 12 people. So 7 office people, so to speak, I guess. I would consider myself office and her as office, even though she's on site. And then we have 5 carpenters that are never in the office. They're always on site.
Now, are those employees or contractors?
So
per se?
they're all independent contractors, and so we don't tell them you got to show up 9 to 5. We tell them this is the scope of work that you need to complete, and we expect you to complete it. Just like we would hire a general contractor.
Yeah.
So the same way.
Your acquisition is commission based?
Yeah, acquisitions is commission based, and sales is also commission based. The only person that gets paid a salary is our office manager, and our carpenters get paid on a worked out rate daily basis. And they love it. Some people love the consistency money. Other people, they want their freedom and they want to work commission based. And some of our commission based acquisitions people do really well. Yeah, that's how we have it set up right now.
I'm sure one of the questions that will be coming up is how do you compensate acquisitionists?
Yeah. So the way we
What's fair?
Yeah. So the way we compensate acquisitions is on net profit on a deal. So we wholesale and we do rehab. So with rehabs, we've worked something out, which is if we decide to take it on as a rehab, there's a fixed fee. Also, our acquisitions manager, she is licensed. So sometimes we'll give her the back end listing as well. So it works out for her in a multitude of ways. It saves us money and makes her more money as well. And then we also have a tiered approach if we're wholesaling a deal. Our tiered approach starts, I think, at 7.5% and works all the way up to 20% depending on how many deals that person brings in every single month. Volume. And that's based off of the net, based off of volume, and then based off of the net number.
Nice, very nice.
And it's really because we're looking to build our company with fellow entrepreneurs, fellow owners, people who really take initiative and have ambition and drive to create and build for themselves. We're really clear about not wanting a company entirely of employees,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's the thing, We don't want to be flipping houses for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
It's a job.
fun. Yeah, exactly. And so we have fun doing it, but essentially we want to groom people into becoming owners, and we're happy to give percentages of our business away over time if it makes sense, but we want to help build the landscape of it right now, and so that's what we're in the process of doing.
What's your exit strategy going to be so that you can retire one day without having to fix and flip all day long?
Yeah, I want to be a lender.
Passive.
Honestly, yeah, that's always been my goal. I want to be a lender. Why? Because I know how to comp deals. I know what construction entails, etc. I can walk a house and pretty quickly get a rough ballpark, although Danielle doesn't always agree with me, as to what it takes to renovate a house.
It's close enough.
What it takes to renovate a house, and so that's why that's what I want to do. We also have passive income properties. We own quite a few rentals, but really I want to be a lender because if you guys follow Robert Kiyosaki, they talk about the I, it's an investor, and so that's essentially just deploying capital. Honestly, what I really enjoy doing is, has anyone ever seen the show The Profit on TV?
Yeah.
He goes in, he helps businesses and brings them back to life. That's what I want to do, primarily in the real estate space.
And that's what he's amazing at. I mean, he is, as much as I hate to say it because the head grows every time I do, a visionary in so many ways. And so it's why he's able to assess the market and assess deals and bring them together, in such a way that it's profitable, not only for us, but the people that we're then selling them to. It's our unique value add as a wholesaler as well. It enables him to do what he does best and is great at. And then also it makes these deals all the more profitable for us.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about this deal. Tell us about the numbers.
Specifically.
Yeah. I'll start with the numbers, and she can go into a little bit more about
And then
the construction.
I'll ask a few more questions, then we'll open it up to questions from the audience.
Awesome.
Okay.
So, like I said, I bought this deal we bought this deal from wholesalers. Andy and Caleb were right there.
There he is. Say hi, Andy, Caleb.
It's all
I'm
good.
not gonna miss your. I wasn't gonna miss this. So.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming by. These guys brought us a deal initially. The numbers didn't work as well. Then they came back to us a couple of weeks later. That's one thing that I would tell a lot of people. Give these guys offers, right? If it doesn't work out initially, that's okay. But they might come back to you later on. I can't tell you how many times I have bought deals where people come back to me and they say, hey, this guy couldn't get it done. Are you still in the game? Right? And that's why I give them my offer. But I substantiate it too. I'm not just giving them some random number. I'm telling them why I need to be at a certain price point. So we bought this deal at 125, and our budget on this is about 130. We'll probably go a little over budget because that's the nature of construction. It's not because...
How many square feet?
Unexpected stuff.
So it's 1,200 upstairs and about 1,000 downstairs we finished out. So it'll be about 2,200 square feet. And so our budget's about 130, but we'll probably land somewhere in the 135, 140 range.
Yeah.
But it's a full gut. We actually had to rebuild quite a bit of it, which Danielle can talk about. And I expect that we'll be able to sell this somewhere in the 375 range. Our cost of capital is pretty cheap, but the other thing that we've gotten really, really good at just in the last year is speed. So as soon as we deploy capital on this, we move our projects really quickly. That's one of the biggest things. We looked at our bottom line from last year, and I said, our interest charges are tremendously high because we're not moving fast enough. And so our goal this year was, how fast can we move our projects? We might do a few less rehabs, but if we make more money per rehab, when all the dust settles, we did less work for a similar amount of money. Yeah. Right? And so that's a very important key piece that I think a lot of investors don't recognize, that cheapest is not always the best, because if you have a really cheap contractor, guess what? They might not be there on a timely fashion and moving the project along. Andy and Caleb have talked to me a couple of times. They're like, you guys move fast. And I said, that's by design, right? And the reason we move fast is because every single month we know that we're accruing interest on this particular property, which tends to be oftentimes one of the largest costs outside of construction on a project like this.
And that's one of the things, being a contractor and investor owner, you really understand all those costs a whole lot more as you're building. So you're even more incentivized to not have any days where nobody's working on site. So today I actually had to cancel people working on site just so we could have this tour.
Or to send them to lunch early.
Yeah. That's my goal. There's something moving forward every single day on one of my projects. And when there isn't, I am very uncomfortable because I know that money as the owner.
Yeah.
And you guys mentioned how important speed is. How are you getting your permits and all that quickly?
Yeah, so how do we get permits? As soon as we have this under contract, actually these guys might not know, we had someone drawing these up before we even closed on it. So they're drawing it up, they walk the project, they're drawing it up, and then they send us an existing floor plan. We take a red pen to it, me and Danielle sit down usually the same day as it comes in, and we'll figure out, okay, we can move this wall, this, that, the other thing. We have experience doing that just because we've done a lot of deals. We have no formal training on it, but if you don't have that formal training, tell your architect or drafts person to go ahead and give you a potential proposed. I told her, listen, I want a 4-3 out of this thing. And she was like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And I said, we're going to finish out the basement. Let's figure it out, right? Because I looked at the comps and I said, this is what I think I can sell this for. And if I have a 4-3, I'm going to feel a lot more confident in my ability to sell it for that price. And so that's how we get the architect done. And as soon as we have the plans, we will always get an engineer to stamp them. Now, some people don't do that. Yeah, the city of Atlanta doesn't require it on renovation projects. However, we do that because ultimately it flies through permitting. Usually we can get our permits done in typically the same day or within a week. Usually on a house like this, where it's keeping the existing footprint.
Existing footprint. The more deals you can do, rehabs that are existing footprint, the shorter time you're going to be carrying them for your permitting. So that's what we're trying to really focus on. Plus, we've seen that in the market where there's kind of like a gap where people are not all looking for these McMansions or new construction. Affordability is an issue, So it's really keeping existing footprint, smaller square footage, but we're pushing that price per square foot on the sale price because we are taking the quality and the design to a much higher level than our comps.
Yeah, a lot of people are being priced out of these neighborhoods because they can't afford $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes, which is what happened on the east side. So a lot of people moving to the west side, but now already we're getting 300, high 300s. I mean, I'm seeing sales for mid 400s out here on the west side now, which, you know, obviously is pricing a lot of people out. But so what I like to do a lot of is existing footprint houses. Can we keep the floor plan? If we have the square footage, we can usually get a 3-2 out of it, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So
when you say keeping your existing footprint, you're taking down walls though.
yes,
correct?
Yes, we are taking down
You're
walls.
just talking about the exterior footprint.
Yeah.
Just so they know, just so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That's when they talk about keeping the footprint, they're not building up or out.
Yeah.
They're keeping the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And on this one, we had quite a few foundation repairs too,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, so we're talking about the exterior footprint of the house, essentially. We stay within
Because
that.
in Fulton County, you can literally take a step off of there and be in a variance situation, and will tie up your property for months,
Yeah.
especially if your timing is off.
Yeah.
So be careful when you do anything exterior, adding even a step off of your exterior of your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a big deal, right? Because the city's going to watch you and make sure that you're not bending the rules. More so, a lot of times what I've found is it's neighbors. So if we're very friendly to our neighbors, we want to make sure that our neighbors know who we are in case they have a problem with something. Our neighbors have been very gracious with us. We needed water here sometimes for concrete work and painting work, and we didn't have the water turned on because anyway,
They
long
had to
story
dig up
short,
the whole
city of
street.
Atlanta didn't
Yeah.
know what was going
They had
on
a
exactly.
broken valve.
Yeah, with the
Main
water
water line, yeah.
issue, and so you know we paid them a few bucks, and they were happy to share some of their water. They also know who we are. They're super happy that this house that's been vacant for so long is now being renovated, and it will obviously increase their property value
A lot.
Yeah.
They might want to sell it to you sooner or
I
later.
have a question. Most people do staples to their house. Like when I do mine, there's certain things that I do on
Yeah.
an ongoing,
Yeah.
every.
What's our staples?
What is your staple?
Yeah, so great question.
You mentioned shutters, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's going to be one.
Yeah, we do shutters. We usually do. I mean, our staples, honestly, Don, are basically we don't like mid-level rehabs,
Yeah.
right? In between rehabs, where you could probably keep this and keep that and keep this, whatever, unless it's built after 1980. Once it's built before not really 1980, usually before 1978, I'm thinking to myself, I gotta gut this. All right, our staples pretty much are all new plumbing, all new electrical, all new HVAC as a standard. Most
Open floor
times,
plan.
open floor
Master
plan,
suite.
nice master suite, and most times we're changing out the roof as well. And so this is a brand new roof on this particular property. Occasionally we can keep the roof depending on how old it is,
Yeah.
but open floor plan, usually definitely a 3-2, although recently we just sold a 2-2 in Kirkwood, which I was very nervous
Yeah.
about doing, honestly. But it sold largely because people want smaller houses that are more affordable. But the price per square foot can be extremely high as a result of that.
Speaking of price per square foot,
Yeah,
you put 140 into this, you're saying.
yeah,
How many square feet? Oh, 12,
about
20.
2,200.
Okay, so your cost per square foot is going to be about $60. Is that right?
Yeah, it'll be about
Anybody
60
have
to
a
70
calculator?
bucks. Yeah. Typically, how we look at it is this.
Do you have a
Yeah.
number you try to use?
Yeah, we know what it
70,
costs.
yeah.
70 to $75 a square foot is what it costs us to gut renovate a house. If it has a basement, typically it's a little bit lower than that. It costs us about 60, maybe 55. We can eke it out, depending on if we put a bathroom in here.
Yeah.
We put a bathroom.
So, and I'm saying this for everybody's benefit. So when you sit down and you evaluate a house that's
Excellent.
2,200 square feet,
Yeah.
and you look at it and you go, okay, we use in the industry what we call swag numbers initially, and then we go from there.
Yep.
So putting it under contract, when you talk to these guys, you say, okay, I think it's going to cost me $140,000. Are you taking the square footage and saying, okay, times $70 a square foot?
Yeah,
Initially,
exactly
yeah.
what we do.
Okay.
That's pretty
Just-
much exactly what
That's
we do.
what most people do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to to
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
So then we
and-
come in and look at the anomalies. So this one does have a finished basement. So there are specific costs that have gone up. The plumbing costs go up because you need your sewage ejection pump. So it's really doing the price per square foot initially in order to get under contract, and then really assessing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's your
what-
swag. That's
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
call your swag.
Yeah.
Tell them what it means, Don.
Scientific wild ass guess.
Yeah.
It is
I was
scientific.
wondering.
It is scientific, but it's still pretty much a wild guess.
Yeah.
But that guess also comes because we maintain very strict tracking measures for all of our projects. We've been tracking our projects for not 10 years, I'll be honest. I wasn't
Yeah.
that organized, but probably for the last 3.5, 4 years, we've been tracking every single one
Price
of our
per square
projects.
foot.
So we know price per square foot for foundation, framing, drywall, painting, electrical, etc. You know, what we're typically putting into these houses. Now, an electrician doesn't price out by price per square foot, but we typically know, okay, this is what it's costing us on houses of this size over and over and over again, and we have an entire badass spreadsheet that we
Yeah.
utilize for this.
And there's certain things too that when we walk through wholesale deals, whether they're internal, external, however they come to us, we're looking, what's the utilities looking like? Where's my overhead? Am I going to have to adjust that? Where's my, gas meter? What's the site conditions of the project? All of those things are going to drastically drive your numbers up. Is there a driveway? Am I going to have to replace it? Do I have to just repair it? Those are the big ticket. How much framing, obviously. Big ticket items that are going to drastically increase your budget on your rehab.
And we're trying to improve on every single project that we do. Every single project we're improving, maybe getting tighter on our numbers. Not necessarily cheaper, but hey, could we maybe keep this location of the bathroom or what have you? This house had some interesting anomalies. The yard, as you guys can tell, slopes towards the house. So we haven't graded it fully yet. They're going to come back and fix the grade a little bit, the landscapers will. But there was massive wood rot on the front right corner over here, largely because water has been hitting it for years and years and years. And the entire back of this house also had massive wood rot. So we actually rebuilt most of the back of this house.
So how are you going to solve that here? Because I
So
noticed that first. That was the
Yeah.
first thing I noticed.
Yeah. So the whole front of the house here was dug up. We actually had to dig this up anyway because we replaced and put in all new sewer and water lines. The whole front was dug up, patched, waterproofed. As you can see, concrete slab put in here. And then this grade, we're adjusting so that this kind of levels out, comes a little bit away from the house. Then we're going to have a swale in the front yard here just to
Yeah.
deter the water
So you
and then
kinda
bring
take it
it
down
up.
that way?
Yeah, we'll
Exactly.
take it
We've
down
got
to-
here and then we've got here. As you can see from this new concrete poured walkway, it's all directing towards the driveway. So you always want to be thinking about water and how you're going to manage it around the perimeter of your home.
Water is the most important thing. I mean, water will not just destroy your house, but every single buyer's inspector will catch it.
Yeah.
Right? So if your grade is going towards the house, you need to do something about it. Right?
Yeah.
And so we knew that this was an issue, largely because water was pouring in, because last month or a couple of months ago, we had a ton of rain constantly. So that's kind of when we knew about it, so we were going to fix it as well.
Yeah.
So.
And then obviously you can see there are new gutters on the home. That always helps. The house, I think, had
A lot
really
of people don't
small.
choose to put gutters on it.
It's
I
crazy.
never understood
Yeah.
why, but there's a lot of people, a lot of renovators, they choose not to put gutters, and I don't
Insane.
understand why.
Yeah.
We
Or
always
the
do
drip
it.
edge, you know,
They look good.
with the
I like
roof.
the black.
Yeah,
Thanks.
the
Yeah,
black and
that's
white.
my new favorite gutter style these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, putting the drip edge, because that's what we go in, and some of these even newer homes that were built in the 80s or 90s, they won't have drip edge, and they already have the rot.
Yep.
So it's really about putting in all of your necessary flashing, your roof, your gutters, everything to deter the water away.
Our big thing is if you're going to do work, do it well. Or
Yeah.
don't do it at all.
Good.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody have any questions?
Let's open it up. Just raise your hand.
There's a lot of you who've joined us.
Yeah, quite a
Any
few.
questions?
All right, we'll
I mean,
start
they've
over
done
here.
a good job answering most of them. I couldn't even get a question because they answered most of my questions, so that was good.
Hey,
Hi.
I wanted to go back to the whole original footprint. You said you changed it from a 3.2 to a 4.3 or 4.2?
4-3.
It was a
4-3?
it was a 3-1.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a
Okay,
3.1,
one,
and
yeah.
you're changing it now to a 4.3.
4-3.
3.
Is that because the basement it was where did you, if you didn't pop it out or go?
Yeah, it
blow
was
back,
unfinished.
The basement was unfinished,
Oh.
and we looked at the space and we said, there's quite a bit of square footage here that will go wasted. When I initially talked to the guys, they were thinking doing an addition. Well, I knew that getting a permit for an addition, we probably would have just started the project, right? So I didn't want to wait that long. And so I said, okay, well, these guys were thinking about adding square footage. We have this basement. Why don't we just use the basement? And so that's what we decided to do, is figured out a way to get, you know, there were posts down every few feet, but we had our engineer come in and say, okay, you can get rid of this post if you put a beam over here and stuff like that. This is why, like, I'll tell you.
Because it was a basement, did you put an LVL beam or did you put an
LVLs.
actual?
Yeah, two
We've got
LVLs.
LVLs
Yeah,
throughout,
multiple
couple different
LVLs.
places.
And so a couple of things that we do that I find a lot of investors don't do is getting an engineer involved. You know, build a solid relationship with a good engineer or two, so that if your guy's busy, you can call on another guy. But we always, before we do framing inspection, we'll have our engineer come out. Right, and then they'll come in, they'll inspect it, and they'll say, okay, or actually
We
after
do it.
demo, we do it, right?
Yeah, we do it during demo before we started framing, because it's really assessing, this is where, because you have your plans, right, your architectural plans, and you can assess what's a load-bearing wall and then like come up with a size of an LVL based off of that. But until you get into a home, there's a whole world of, you know, wood rot and everything behind the walls that you can't see. So we have once we're demoed out, before we start framing, have our engineer come out, and that's when he gives us a breakdown of all the LVL sizing, all the support that's needed, what we need to do to support existing roof, whatever existing framing that we're keeping. And then once we've actually completed all that framing, then he comes and he inspects, ensures that it's structurally sound, and he
Gives you a
provides
letter.
a letter
And gives
for
a letter.
our framing inspection.
And that's awesome.
That's the
because
key.
when the framing inspector comes in from the city, we're just like, hey, thanks for coming by. Our engineer already inspected it. And sometimes the inspectors will just look at the letter and they'll say, okay, see you later, right? They won't even walk in the house. Very rarely, but sometimes they do that because they have a very busy schedule.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't slow us down. So that couple of $100 extra, $200-300 extra, now could have saved us an entire week's worth of, or 2 weeks worth of interest sometimes,
Yep.
And
which is
so-
more significant.
That's excellent. So on that, so I just want to make certain I understand this. So what was the original usable square foot of the house?
Yeah, it was 1,200
Oh, it
roughly.
was 1,200.
Yeah.
So you picked up 800 from the floor. And
Yeah.
so are you anticipating that when, you know, the appraisal's done in the house, once it's being sold and all of that, that the basement quality, I know you did a great job.
Yeah.
So I'm not questioning that.
Yeah.
But because it's not daylight and all of that, that it's going to be valued differently?
Yeah, so
Well,
that's a great question.
The thing
It's a
about
great
the
question.
floor
Yeah.
plan, it is daylight. So this house is very deceiving.
Oh, so from the
And
back.
yeah, and
Okay.
this is
You'll get to
why,
see it soon enough.
yeah, this is why it's tricky design-wise. I'm doing a pergola on the front porch, first time I've ever done that, because my whole intention was to make this feel as tall as possible without having to completely reframe the roof. Because the back of the house is 2 stories and daylight. So I've got like, I think 6 windows downstairs.
Okay.
So
That's
you
a
have
game
your,
changer right
and
there.
there's an exterior access too. So this is actually a perfect floor plan. It's a unique floor plan, but it's perfect for somebody who's like a roommate situation, or a lot of times people buying our homes are like Airbnb-ing them,
Right.
whatever
other
it
thing-
is, yeah.
Though, to her point, I agree that an appraiser might come in and say, okay, this house is really only 1,200 square feet, and I'm not counting that as finished square feet. So what do? We actually go in and we meet with the appraiser. So as soon as it's on market, and I would encourage all of you guys to do this, and we implemented this strategy about 3 years ago after one of our properties came under appraised from the sales price. And so what happens is our sales agent goes out after inspections are done from the buyer. We agree on any repairs necessary. She goes out, she takes the lockbox off the door and puts in the private remarks, appraiser, please call me for access, right? So now you know when the appraiser is supposed to go out to meet, right? So we go out, we meet, and here's what we present them with. Comps that substantiate our value, right? We pull the comps. And we don't pull BS comps, we pull the real comps that substantiate our value. We also show them a large scope of work taking out all the pricing, right? And it's actually a 3-page scope of work. Sometimes it's 4 pages, depending on the extent of damage, right, to the house. We'll have that. We also have any testimonials. So when we're sitting at a table across from a buyer, we'll ask them the question, hey, why did you buy this house? Oh, we bought it because we love this, that, and the other thing. Great. Would you mind if we sent you an email and you wrote that down real quick, 1 paragraph? So they'll write that down, and then we've had a lot of people put them on Google reviews. By the way, if you guys got value from this, we'd love a review from you on Google Reviews.
M2 These guys
type in M2 Rest, right? And then we'll take some of those reviews and we'll include them on a sheet about the quality of work that people like, etc. And then a few other things. Oh yeah, the last thing is if we've had multiple offers on the property, which oftentimes in town we do, what we do is we include the first page of the offer with all the terms, showing the appraiser, hey, you know, we had 5 offers on this property and this one ended up winning, but if you notice, all of them ended up coming in right around that same price point of $370, $375, $380, whatever the case may be. That has been a godsend for us because we just recently sold a property. We had, it went 21 grand over list in Peachtree Corners, and we had, I think, seven offers. Yeah. So we had 7 offers on that property, and I think the buyer's agent thought that, oh, it's never going to appraise, but they didn't know that we actually meet the appraiser to show them off the house, right? That's the critical piece of the puzzle, right? And it appraised for exactly what our sales price was. I also meet the hard money lender. When we used to use a lot of hard money lenders, we used to meet the hard money lender's appraiser there, and we would substantiate, hey, this is what we're going to do. It's our job as the investor to sell them the vision. And so that's what we really work on doing. We sell that vision to the appraiser. So even on hard money loans, we haven't had any issues with appraisals. Okay, so that's the type of stuff that we like to do.
And how did we learn that, and how did we come up with that system?
After getting our butt whooped.
We got whooped on a house and lost, I think, 14 grand or something because our appraisal didn't come
from the profit margin.
Yeah. So just like everything, it's like all about learning these lessons before you have to learn them yourself.
And they just gave you guys some really good golden nuggets. I hope you're writing notes and taking notes because that was some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, you had a question?
A good question. So I see you like this one have the basement, and now normally do you renovate basements as well? If you do, how do you make sure? Well, I guess you just answered that based on the comps and what you put, but you gamble it, so to speak, and depending per area, if it's even worth finishing up the basement.
Yeah, I think it largely depends on the area. So Westview we know is hot. Like everyone here probably, if you work in town, you know this neighborhood, right? And so Westview is usually like a very hot neighborhood. So what we do a lot of is we'll assess, okay, what are the comps in the area? There's a 1,700 square foot house that I think you guys might have sold to another investor that sold for like $346, right? 3 or 4 or 5 days on market, 1,700 square feet. By the way, I have this crazy memory. I remember a lot of houses, right?
He's Rain Man.
But I also pay attention. I know what Andy and Caleb are starting to do renovations also. So when I see them out there, I'll talk to them and say, hey, what you guys got going on over there? What are you going to list for? Around the corner is one of my students and good friends, Victor Aponte. Some of you guys might know him. He's doing a rehab over there. He called me the other day, or he texted me the other day asking me, hey, what are you going to list for, right? So I gave him an idea of what I'm going to list for so that he can price his property properly.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I make friends with all the renovators in the area. Why? Because we're going to all help each other's comps out.
It's your network. Yeah.
And so how do I know to do the basement? Because I looked at the comps, and a lot of the 20-something hundred square feet houses, they've sold in the high 300s. And so that's what we ended up doing that. Yeah. So.
Okay, Malhar. So going back to the appraisal, as a hard money lender, I do highly suggest you go meet the appraiser because one, you don't know if the appraiser started yesterday, they're brand new to the field, so they're just like half-assing it, or they might have gotten the wrong comps for your property.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you're ready, if you pulled your own comps like they do, and you say, hey, Mr. Appraiser, this is what we're looking at. Please do me a favor, look at these and understand what type of scope of work you're going to be doing. That way they're like, okay, they'll analyze it the correct way. So Let me tell you, if you got something going on that day, cancel it and be at your appraisal.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's it.
Any other questions before we start taking a look at the house?
It's kind of a two-part question about the contractors. As far as when were you able to find your reliable contractors, and how were you able to control the speed and how fast?
Last week.
Yeah, so that's a great question. How do I find my contractor? I married mine.
I was gonna say, are you gonna answer this?
But I mean, I think before, you know, how do we find good contractors? Honestly, here's the number one way we find great contractors, guys. We drive neighborhoods.
Yeah.
We drive neighborhoods, we look at other people's houses, and if they're working on the house, we'll knock on the door, we'll walk in, we'll open up the permit box, we'll see who's the person that has the permit on the house, right? And then we'll get an idea of who the contractors are. Now, if we're driving the same neighborhood, because we drive this neighborhood regularly, and we see that this house is lagging, no one's doing work on it, I'm not really interested in that contractor, right? But we get calls all the time on our jobs because people driving by are always seeing work happening on our job sites, right? So a lot of calls that we get are people asking us, hey, do you guys do renovations? Unfortunately, we don't for other people, but that's one way we find contractors, referrals. And then I think really what's important is to set up the expectation up front, not just signing contracts like, okay, real quick, sign the contract. Sit down. This is the next 3 or 4 or 5, if your contractor is slow, maybe 6 or 7 months of your life that you're going to have to work on a regular, consistent basis with this contractor. Sit down for 2 hours and discuss what the expectations of that project are. Are you guys on the same page, or are they just signing something just to get the job going, and now they're going to, a month or 2 down the road, they couldn't get the permit quick enough, and now you're sitting there, you're the one making the payments to Joe, right, every single month. You're the one responsible. So at the end of the day, whose fault it is it, right? I always look at any mistake that we make in our business as our responsibility. If Danielle makes a mistake or one of her guys makes a mistake, it's her responsibility. She's the owner. What screwed up in our system that she couldn't, she didn't have that situation resolved? Or if one of my people screws up on the acquisition side or something, then I'm looking at, okay, what could I do better to improve my system so that they don't screw up again, right?
One of the things, too, to your point about contractors is most of you are hiring general contractors, and it's really about, and I talk a lot about this because it's something that I'm passionate about, it's about meeting people where they're at, and it's not focusing on just one end. So he talked about contracts and sitting down and getting clear with your expectations as far as your timeline and your sourcing of materials and your quality and insurance, all these things. 1,000% necessary. It's also about feeling out who they are, their integrity, their character, walking their job site, seeing about how their relationship is with their subcontractors. We've hired plenty of contractors who could sit down at a table and you feel great about them, and then the job sits for 3 weeks with nothing happening, and every single plumber they've ever known won't return their phone call. That's a huge red flag, you know? So for me also, I feel like he's legal, and finance and everything, and so all those things are always on lock, and we're really clear about them with our contractors. But for me, I really focus on building a relationship too. I want to see your job site. You got people, I show up early to walk through to meet a contractor. Guys are working, I walk through, oh, I'm meeting, you know, whoever the contractor is. I'm just going to walk through. You introduce yourself to the guys. Oh, you know, this is how you start talking. Oh, you like working for this boss, you know? You just feel things out and really assess the way that they run their job, their project management skill, their relationships with their subcontractors are all somebody that you feel good about wanting to do business with. And then as far as people who are hiring subcontractors, that is key. Stopping at job sites. You see framers who are rocking and rolling and have a new construction 2-story house up in a week. We are stopping by and talking to that framer, you know, like it's really just about knowing and seeing quality and being able to tap into it because it's relationship based, right? Returning phone calls, especially in this current state of this market with how busy everybody is, it's all about relationships. So every single one of our subcontractors returns our phone calls, returns our texts, and is on our job site in a timely manner because that's the expectation and the relationship we've built with them. Well,
before we go inside, I'll get you in 1 second, sir. On I want you to take a minute to tell us about the exterior and what you did and what you changed and how it used to be.
Yeah, so this house, as I was saying before, is a little tricky because it's real short from the front, and I had to reframe pretty much all the walls inside, so I wasn't about to reframe my entire roof, although we had to do a bunch of repair framing to it. So I didn't want to come out with just a flat roof here because I didn't want to stop the visual. So I came up with this pergola thing. To be honest, I was out of town when it got built, and so we've got to adjust some of these posts in order to get it working a little bit better. But the whole concept was to have a really beautiful, clean front. As you can see, a white house, black roof, black gutters, some beautiful, these are going to be polyed out shutters. Going to have a gorgeous pop of color on my front door, hanging plants. I am huge about curb appeal, people, and I feel like investors, the number one thing they skimp on because it's the end of the project is their curb appeal. So I am going to have some actually prominent bushes in the front of my house, some green to break up the white and black and cedar here, and going to hang, you know, at least one fern here, going to stage, put a plant or something, just bring in color and interest. This whole front yard will be sodded as well, so that's going to bring in a lot of green. And yeah, beautiful light fixture. Back of the house, you're going to see pretty much one of the biggest backyards we've ever done. We could have a second house back there. So that's really key for this house. It was all about attractive on the front and drawing the whole floor plan and all of the views and all of the pathways, because there's 3 exterior entrances on the back of the house here to the backyard, which is the real selling feature of this home.
Did you rewrap this house?
Yes. Rewrap, OSB,
So you got a 1,200 square foot house. Do you know the cost on rewrapping?
To be honest, I don't remember. I'd have
Probably
to
like
look it up.
6 grand, 6,
Yeah.
7 grand.
Oh, for new siding.
You mean all
also.
new
Yeah,
siding
yeah,
and everything,
yeah.
somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
it's
Yeah,
about 6, 7 grand.
I think, you know, it got a little tricky because here's not so bad, but if you take a look at the sides, it's really high up there, so we needed scaffolding and stuff, so it took us a little bit longer.
People always ask me, what's it cost to, in fact, we just had a question about that.
Yeah.
What's it cost to wrap a, you know, an average 1,200 square foot home? And
Yeah, 6, 7 grand is in the ballpark.
The height is really dependent, that
Yeah.
number.
It also depends how high, like you said.
So this
and how bad the OSB
took
is behind it.
longer because of that, and we also cited this in-house, so it's somewhere around that total number. I didn't sub it out.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you put a deck on back?
It is a beautiful deck.
Yeah.
We get to walk around there and see it?
Yes,
Yeah,
we do.
absolutely.
Let's do
Let's head that
it.
way.
You want to
Now, when
walk
we-
outside?
No, yeah, I want to walk the outside first. When we come in, do you want us to come in through the back or come in through the front?
Doesn't matter.
The front would be better.
Okay,
They'll give you the whole.
Yeah,
go.
the whole floor plan.
let's go check out the back.
Yeah, everybody make your way to the back, the driveway here.
One thing, everybody, we just ordered pizza, so if you want pizza, come see me.
Good, how are you? I'm so sweaty. I know, me too. That sun was killer, huh? Look at you in the long sleeve shirt and everything. You must be sweating. So yeah, it went all the way up, a nice black on the foundation, so to cover up a lot of the repair work we had to do on the block here.
Is this hardy plank or vinyl siding?
This is hardy.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just tons of patching. So we had some loose block we had to fill in. We had a whole lot of holes we had to patch in. So the darker color really helps to disguise all that. So as you walk back here, you see, like, my voice is echoing. It's so, you hear it? How crazy is this? A football field of a backyard. Gorgeous privacy fence. One of the tricks we do too is whenever we have a really large backyard space like this, we graded it, we did our fence, and we went ahead and we did grass seed. So by the time we hit the market, the grass is going to be beautiful and grown in, so we'll just go back and cut back some of the overgrowth and do some pine straw. And so that's pretty much it. Our backyard's done. This is like a wonderland for anything the potential buyers want to do with this, they can. Now if you turn around, you'll see our really large, beautiful deck. And it's got your views to the back of the house. We have a master there. That door is off of your master, so your master has the access to the backyard. And then we also have in our kitchen another door. So both have access to the deck and the backyard. And then this door is in our basement. And then under the deck, I'm planning on doing gravel, so it's going to be an additional outdoor living space, like a patio kind of setup.
Yeah. And that's the gravel is in place because you need it to be permeable, and so the city is going to come in and say you can't. There's such a thing as lot coverage, which is you can't cover too much of the lot where you can't keep your own water.
Yeah.
Basically, you got to keep your own water, right, on your lot, and so that's one thing that factors in. But
Yeah.
When you say you keep your own water, what does that mean?
that means when it rains, you
Maintain.
can't give
Yeah.
all your water to your
You can't have runoff.
Yeah.
to your neighbors. You got to keep it and let it soak into your ground.
Yeah, you can't pump it onto their problem, make it their problem.
Yeah. And you'll see all the new
Yeah,
concrete.
exactly.
You always want to pay attention when you do new concrete, where they're driveways, walkways, whatever it is, that they're sloped away from your house. So the water hits it and it goes away. That's really key.
So you were saying that you're going to do gravel underneath.
Yeah.
I would assume cost is the reason, but because if something happened, you have to be able to penetrate it. Whereas if you just did expanded the concrete block there, that doesn't meet the requirements of the city. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yeah. And what we found for under decks, that's kind of a go-to thing we've been doing, because it's really, you don't know what it's going to be used for. It might just be storage for bikes and a lawnmower, or it might be that they do want to do an Airbnb and kind of have a setup, outdoor setup here, and then the deck is their private setup, for the homeowner. So you really don't know what it is. So I find that just gravel under decks is a good way to kind of give the option for something without spending the cost, which it is, to have all new concrete and then potentially have additional issues with the city and whatnot.
Okay.
Yep. Sir, did you have a question still?
Yeah, my question was, if me never having done a rehab and hired a GC, the 70 bucks a square foot is they doing based on their skill set. But if I was going to do exactly what they're doing and hire a GC, how
100.
much more would it cost?
More, definitely more.
Yeah, it'll be more. I would say you got to factor to add at least 20% on top. You're at like $84, $85 a square foot. Now this is a full gut done properly, right? You guys know not a lot of rehabbers. That's not true. I think a lot of rehabbers don't do stuff properly, and then they're wondering why is their contract always falling out. It's because they don't do the work properly. I know of a rehabber recently that put plywood all on the dirt in the crawl space, and then tried to hide it. But inspector is going to catch that. All right,
Yeah.
Guys, so do the work properly the first time. And so what we do actually is once this job's all done, we're going to have a home inspector come in. Our own home inspector that does a post-renovation inspector.
You always do that?
Always do that. And it's basically walk it with the eyes of a buyer's inspector. And so he'll find all the nitpicky stuff. Some of that stuff, honestly, we'll leave. But occasionally we'll find something major that one of our contractors might have missed, right? Because we're so close to this project for
What's
3 or
that
4
normally
months.
cost you?
$300-$400 depending on the square footage.
$300-$400 versus losing the deal.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely worth it because especially as investors, most investors aren't crawling in the crawl spaces. They're not going into the attics of their home. So you're kind of taking the word for your contractor and he's taking the word for your subcontractor, and you know how that goes. If something's missed, it's like, oh, so-and-so. So it's really about having somebody who's on your side, who has your back, who's going in and assessing the property as if they were a home inspector for a potential buyer. And then that informs your punch list. So it's something I highly, highly recommend for investors, especially when construction knowledge isn't there. You need somebody who has that knowledge walking through your home and assessing it.
Yeah. And we found things like, I remember on one house we had a pier that was missing, holding up the foundation. You know? That would have been flagged. See, here's the thing. Once something is thrown into question, a buyer might start questioning everything else in the house, right? So our whole thing is tight, tight, tight. We don't list our properties until they're done, fully staged. We have a system in place, right? The system freaking works, so we follow it, right? And what it is we finish the project out, we stage it. I don't care if I'm over budget or what have you. I stage it because staging turns a house into a home, right?
Yes.
And so it's basically, I'm catering to the emotions of a buyer.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I interject 1 second? Because I want you all to hear what he said. I don't know if any of you picked up on it. They stage every house, and they don't list the home until it is 100% finished.
Yes.
That is a huge mistake, because when you list a home before it's finished, you get a flood of people. That's when the majority of your buyers come in. If your home is not ready, even the smallest detail will turn them off. And once that 72-hour period is over, the whole marketability of your home cools off.
First impression.
Yeah.
So
momentum.
if you don't have, if it is not 100, every time I've not done a home 100%, I've always regretted it.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Did you remove some trees?
No, there were
No,
no
believe it
trees.
or not.
No
It was
trees.
all just overgrowth.
It was all overgrowth. Yeah.
You guys got any other questions before we go take a look on the inside? Yeah? Well, let's do it.
All right.
All right,
Do you
lead
want to
on.
go through the front? We can go through here also.
It's whatever's easiest.
Yeah, let's just go through here. Okay, we'll go up top.
And you
Sorry.
two stick together.
Yeah.
Let me follow them if you don't mind.
Got a loose board. Should I mute myself now?
You don't have to mute yourself yet, unless you guys want to chit chat.
No, we're good. Should we go in?
So beautiful deck.
Yep.
You can see.
Really nice.
Now, if you're muted, you need to unmute yourself
Okay.
if you want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you walk into the kitchen here. Now,
You don't wait till everybody gets in here?
yeah, sure. We'll have everyone load in the front. Yeah.
We'll just kind of
Access.
assemble in here.
Where'd my water go? Sitting right here.
You put it here?
No, put it right sitting on the windowsill. Somebody grab it. So this is our
Watch your
living
step
room.
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
watch
was-
your step.
I don't want to get to talking and somebody back up and
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
stand right here.
good.
I'll stand here too.
That's better. Good.
We'll be the
Don't
rail.
step back.
You guys
Come
come
on
on
in,
in.
everybody.
Guys.
We'll just kind of reassemble in here.
Yeah. This is a good point because I can kind of point to the different areas of the house. Hey!
Careful, there's
Yeah.
no rail here.
Just
We're the
stand.
railing.
You can just stand there, Don.
We should get a temporary.
Yeah.
That would be good.
All
You guys
right.
come. You can come on in
Come on in.
so you can
Back in.
hear.
Okay, good.
There's some spots over here too if anyone wants to come in.
Yeah, come on in, guys. Don't be shy.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody watch your step. Obviously, we are on a construction site. We were painting yesterday, and the paint was wet, and we weren't able to do a really good sweep because I didn't want dust on the walls. However, just watch your step. But you are standing in the open concept front living room of the home. So that's your front door. You walk in. I'm going to have some really beautifully designed rail here, open rail so that your eye still goes through. This is a gorgeous art feature wall. Then we have furniture placement. So sofa in front of the windows or on this wall here. This can be your TV wall. You could even put another chair or something in front of the rail here. And then we're going to have two to carry in what we have outside. 2 cedar barn doors with really bulky barn door hardware that open up to your office bedroom there. And we vaulted the ceiling because so much of the framing was rotted out that we were actually able to go ahead and instead of just coming back with regular ceiling joists, we came with a vault. We did that in both the office and the master bedroom, which really helps to make the space feel a lot bigger. And we're going to hang some beautiful globe fixtures from there, so those are going to pop and the light's going to shine all over. And then, and it is a bedroom because we have the closet there, and then some floating shelves. So that's key. Whenever you're doing these smaller bedrooms, you must have an actual usable closet in order to define it as a bedroom. Careful. And then everyone's standing in it right now, but over here is going to be our dining room. So you can see in the ceiling, that's where my dining room fixture is going to drop down. That's also going to be a wow piece. And then you have the kitchen. U-style kitchen here, stainless steel appliances. Going to have some honed granite, black pearl granite on there. So we're going for a whole black and white theme throughout the house. And then there we have the entry to the deck. So right off of your kitchen is going to be where you access your back deck for your cookouts and your backyard outdoor living. And then you have the window that's right above the sink. So that beautiful backyard that we're trying to sell throughout the whole house, you have a view of it every single day while you're washing your dishes.
It's a beautiful
Very nice.
job.
Thank
I'm wondering
you.
about the windows. It seems like they have narrower sashes,
Uh-huh.
and I really like that. I don't think is that something special, or is that just the ones you order?
I mean, these are 3050 vinyl, maybe because they're vinyl. You mean the
I mean,
trim?
the actual width of the sash, you know, it seems like it's smaller than
Yeah, maybe
most
that's
vinyl
just-
windows.
Maybe that's just the manufacturer, of these
That is
windows.
something special, huh?
Yeah, no, that's not something
think
I
it's great.
intentionally did. I met egress with all of my windows,
Look
so
at everybody else's vinyl
yeah.
windows. Yours are nicer.
But you'll notice the streamlined trim that we do. I like to keep it modern and simple and bring my wows in with my light fixtures, my plumbing, my stones, wood accent features. These floors, because they're a combination of new and existing that we had to splice in, are going to be a really dark, rich color. So all of that is really going to contrast with the white that we have going on, black hardware that's going on all of the doors and all of the cabinetry.
Let me ask you a question.
I could get into tons of detail.
One question.
Are this primed right now, or is this?
No, it's painted. Yeah, yeah.
Please
Do
don't
me a
put your
favor.
feet. Yeah.
Everybody-
Don't put your fingers on the walls.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
why did you do white?
Like, try not to
Danielle?
lean on it if you're all sweaty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's why I asked, because I'm like,
Why'd you
I
do
think
all
these are
white?
finished. I think this is finished paint.
So
So,
the
don't put your hands on the wall.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
thank you.
reason I went with all white in this house, which I've done in another house, the floor plan was tricky and the room size, because we did want to fit that 4-bedroom, 3-bath into it. The room sizes aren't as expansive as I would have liked. So I went with all white on my trim and walls to make it feel really, really open and airy. So your eye is not going to stop on your ceiling. Your eye's not going to stop when you see the trim. It's just going to naturally go up. And instead, your eye's going to be drawn to your light fixtures, your plumbing, your gorgeous barn doors, your stone, all of the things that I'm really spending money on, the wow factors of the home. And the spaces will feel as expansive as possible.
Yeah.
Did you say you had a question or something you wanted to add?
No, that's why
Question
white.
about the
Okay.
white, yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why didn't you just knock this wall and like make it all open?
So
concept?
this was actually one of the things we were looking at. It was, okay, do we make this the dining and then have that an even larger kitchen? The reason we went with this is because Malhar was really adamant about having the 4-3. The comps were all 4 bedrooms. So as much as it pained me to have to leave this here and kind of somewhat separate the spaces, I think opening the rail, because this was all obviously a wall here, really opened up your eye line and your vision to your dining room and your kitchen, and it meant that we could have this separate office bedroom, and it is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath.
So that's the 4th bedroom?
Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
that's, even though it's a smaller bedroom, what we always like doing on a lot of our houses is we like to stage an office room. Because these days, you know, in the age of technology, a lot of buyers, especially in an area like this, we know what our demographic buyer is. And so a lot of buyers, they're usually working from home or something like that, or at least a couple of days a week. They love that, you know. And oftentimes our offices tend to be one of the best staged houses,
Yeah.
rooms in the house, I think.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. Also a great nursery.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll never stage
Lots
it
of
like
light.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll never stage it.
Well, it's serving as a nursery right now.
Oh, yeah.
Some people think they need an office and then they need a
Not a
nursery.
good nursery next to the front door. You don't have a nursery next to the front door.
We're kidding. We're kidding.
So if we want to make our way to the master, if everyone just wants to be careful.
Be very, very careful
we
here.
have an open rail here, so let's just make our way to the master so we can show that off. Guest bedroom to your right. This is the good size guest bedroom. And then a guest bath, check out on your way in too. Hey.
Why is there so much time?
Because we were painting, so we really didn't get to do a full cleanup. But look up, this is your vaulted master ceiling. And I'm going to have a gorgeous hanging glow pendant here, and the light is going to shine and bounce off of all these walls. And as you can tell, the size isn't as much as we want it to be, so we did some things. We raised the windows. These are a shorter window than the rest of the home, which means you could have furniture on this wall. Behind you is the bed wall, and the view isn't so great from here, but on the entry, you see nothing but green. And then where Malhar's standing is also another dresser wall potential. And then you have this short wall here, where you could have a tall boy dresser. And then over here where Maxine is our master closet. Definitely everyone take a look at that because it's huge, and we pride ourselves
build it out.
Yep, on all the built-ins. So we built out tower shelves, lots of hanging space. I think it was
5 by
6.
No, it's like 10.
I think it was 6 by 10, yeah. And then the master bath is right next to it, and we have a huge shower, double vanity, full marble on the walls. And then what's really key, excuse me guys, I want to show something off here. What's really key that you can't see because we were painting is our gorgeous tile.
Oh, Don's going to love that.
So anybody who knows me, I know Darren's standing over there. This is one of the cool things I like to throw in. So you've got the faux marble tile here, and then this really cool Spanish-inspired black and white. And then going to have a beautiful countertop, full mirror here, toilet, and then we also got a transom in. Again, maximizing that view, bringing the light in.
Wow, you sure did.
All for the back of the home. Love those trees, huh?
Yeah.
And then we'll have the frameless glass enclosed shower here.
I like these windows.
Thanks.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you guys determine your air conditioning ducts, where they would go? Because I see, or your vents, because I see.
It's a great question.
There's one in the wall on the bottom, and then and the living room on the floor.
You'll see them kind of all over the place in this house. The reason is because the basement is refinished, and so what we did is a 2-zone system. Instead of, because the square footage didn't really warranty having separate systems, and so we wanted to get a zone system in there, separate thermostats, but one unit in the basement. However, we had to run all of our ductworks and create some soffits in the ceilings in order to get up. So we had limited places we can do that. We cut back some of the size of a couple of the closets in the guest bedrooms in order to get some trunks all the way up to get them into all the rooms. So that's why you'll see them kind of in different places, because they're in the ceiling down there and they're in the walls up here. Yeah.
Great question.
She's
Isn't
like,
she
no,
a
your
doll?
hands are dirty.
She comes to all of our meetings.
That's awesome.
Look at those eyes. So cute. She's too cute.
She is.
You want to go in the basement?
Yeah.
Sorry about the mess, guys.
I'm going to follow you too.
Sure.
This is a black tile. It's actually a
Ooh, I
really
like
dark
that.
gray, and then took but a matte version of the faux marble down here. So because it was a pretty spacious guest bath, I figured why not. And then your spacious guest bedroom.
It is spacious. Chrissy and Don, go check out the bathroom floor. I think Don will like it. Did you go check it out?
10 years. 10 years him, 5 years me.
Yeah, that's why I said I think he'll like
5
it.
years together. Yeah.
Did you get it locally?
Yeah.
Kennesaw?
Oh, Marietta is where I went to take my test. So let's continue the tour. Yeah, we'll continue. That's okay.
No, it's going to.
We're coming down, guys.
Wells in July, guys.
Hey! How you doing? Good. Welcome. Thanks. My basement basement down here. So this, you can tell, is kind of an open concept lounge space. So this is something we've done before. It came out really cool. We're going to probably stage it with some loungy furniture, maybe even a little pool table or something, just to give it that feel. We're adding some industrial elements, some railing that's going to go in here. Again, open that rail to connect the upstairs and the downstairs. Over here is our guest bath, which definitely pop into there. You'll see some more cool tile choices on the walls and floor.
Nice.
Can you tell?
Nice,
Thank
spacious
you. I'm
bathroom
giving all
down
these
here.
details. Basement baths can get tricky, but this one had a lot of width and just a little bit of a limitation with ceiling. So we made it as high as possible here for our vanity, and then our toilet and a bath, but went with a nice clean white tile to make it feel expansive. And a nice added bonus is that there is a little cute window here to let some air and light in.
Definitely. It's a nice basement bathroom.
Yeah.
People are going with the mosaic. You just keep them all clean.
I like it clean. Yeah, the tile. My design approach is really streamlining it. So I like to spend money on material, but have it be streamlined. Nothing that's too busy or too taste specific. I might love it, but I'm not going to be living in the home. So I want it to be transitional too. So the overall design lends itself to much more of a modern design, but you could easily bring this to more of a transitional because it is white, black, simple materials and whatnot.
Let's go catch up with Malhar.
Yeah, babe.
He's got his mic muted, but you can turn it back on whenever he's ready.
Turn your mic on so we can
If
get
you're ready.
more of your... So these are double doors leading to what is defined as another bedroom. But again, this could be set up as a guest bedroom, an office. It's got a lot of length to it. It's got its own walk-in closet. It's got egress through the door here.
Yeah, so every space has to have egress, which is in case of a fire, someone can exit the space. So if we didn't put that door there, then you wouldn't have egress, and this would not be a legal bedroom.
Yeah.
Because this is too high of a window to get out in case of a fire.
Yeah.
So there's a height requirement. There's also a width requirement.
Overall size.
Yeah.
It has to be a certain
I think
where-
it's 30 inches off the ground, and then it has to be
for
at
the
least
height.
5 foot
But it's
2.
5 feet. It's got to be in
5
order for somebody to be able to get out of it.
And so that's why we have that door there, which allows for it.
Yeah, and so that's why we're calling this the bedroom, just because you wouldn't walk down into a bedroom there. So we are planning on staging this as a bedroom, you know, most likely it'll be more of a secondary, but that's a good bed wall. So we have a bed there and then a couple of chairs and a little bit of a hangout space over here.
And the coolest part about this space is that if someone didn't need as big of a house and they wanted to make this an Airbnb, they could easily do that by closing that off right there where the stairs come down, and then you close that off, you have an Airbnb. Because the laundry and everything is on this side of those stairs downstairs. And then this is a separate space. So this could be your one bedroom with like a kitchenette area, like, you know, just coffee and whatnot.
Teen suite, mother-in-law suite.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys stage every single room?
We don't always stage every room.
This house we're going to because it's a unique floor plan. So typically we'll always do the master and the main floor plan and don't do the guest bedrooms. But because this one takes some imagination for people to really see how you would set it up, and because we did take the time to figure out what would be your bed wall, how we would place furniture in here, we do want to stage it so that the end buyer sees that.
Do you use a service?
Yeah, so there's a few different stages we've used in the past. One of the great ones that we've used is Design to Sell. They're really growing. They do beautiful contemporary furniture. Barbara is the owner of that company, and they do a great job. Their artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's who Don recommends he uses too.
Yeah.
They're a little more expensive, but they're worth it.
They are. But
and there's a lot of stagers
Yeah.
in town, you know, if you ask around.
What's the approximate cost to stage a house like this?
It all varies. This one, because
25 to 3.
we're doing the additional bedrooms, it'll go up a little
It'd be
bit.
like $2,500 to $3,000, and typically that staging includes 3 months rental of the furniture, all accessories, etc. So even if we sell it in one day, they still get the $2,500. Which, you know, I look at it as a cost of the business. Right? When we're running our numbers, we have a staging line in there when we're running.
Right. If if you want to get the top dollar, you need to stage it.
Yes.
And 2,500 is pretty average for design to sell.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if you guys already answered this question. For your bedrooms, are the floors going to be hardwood, laminate, or carpet?
So we're hardwood 100%
Hardwood's
upstairs.
Down
Here,
there, we're still deciding.
I'm still, yeah, but I'm thinking about doing stained concrete. So you might have seen a couple places where I'm doing some concrete patching. I want to see how well these clean up, and then I'm thinking of a stained concrete. It'll help give it that industrial kind of more contemporary feel that I'm going for. So that's what I'm shooting for. If they're not great enough, we might go with just like something that's really, because it is concrete, hardwoods on the concrete are no good because the wood is more porous and concrete does hold moisture. So we probably go with more of a water proofing, like a vinyl or an engineer product.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the house.
Oh, the only other thing you haven't seen, which isn't a lot of wow, but on the end of the hall there, we have our sewage ejection pump room, which is essential with a soundproof door rather. So while that's working, they'll be soundproof. And then we have a really nice large laundry. To the right with some shelving there, and then in the end is just our mechanical room, which it really isn't anything fancy.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, this is your laundry. So you have the shelving above your washer and dryer. You have separate access to it. So the laundry room and this room, the things that make noise are kind of on this side, whereas here's all your living space.
Okay, that's why I want to make sure.
She wanted to know where the cabinet.
Yeah, I think that wraps up the tour, but we'll take questions and stuff now. So you were just asking about the cabinet.
I was going to say, do you guys want to go out in the yard and do it?
Sure.
Maybe a little breezier? Get a breeze?
Let's get some air.
Yeah, at least you get a breeze out here.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kind of reassemble. If you guys got any questions, be careful. Be careful.
Any questions?
So you were asking about the cabinet. Yeah.
1 second. Herb, and then we'll go.
Hold on 1 second.
One at a time.
1 second.
Cabinet.
It's okay. You want to know where we get the cabinets or how we design them? So Norcross has tons of cabinet suppliers. JK2 is one of the cabinet suppliers. Rock is another cabinet supplier. So any one of those cabinet suppliers has designers on staff. So I'll measure out my kitchen and then I'll send it to them with the floor plans. Then they'll come up with a design and then I tweak it. And then after drywall goes in, I measure it again. Some of the suppliers will actually come out and measure it for you. So different ones work different ways, but that's how we work with them.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
In all my kitchens, I'm a big proponent of pantries.
Yeah.
This one doesn't
No
have
pantry.
No.
Yeah, no
Did you see how small my kitchen is? I maximize the space so that it feels spacious, so you might not have noticed, but the square footage is actually not so humongous. So it was really just about getting my triangle in there. And then what I did do is do some drawer stacks, which I'm not sure if the doors were all on yet. They had back ordered a couple of things. But drawer stacks are one of the things that I'll do to add additional storage in there. But it was really tricky getting it all to fit in on this one, especially because that door going out to the deck. Yeah.
You just mentioned the triangle. Can you tell these guys what the triangle means and the importance of the triangle?
So it's just a work triangle in your kitchen. You want to have your fridge, your range, and your sink in as much of a triangle as you can get it so that you're not kind of bumping into each other. And all those things in terms of how you workflow in a kitchen are an easy kind of path.
Fingertip, as they call it, fingertip management.
Yeah.
Everything has to be within a circle.
On your window casing.
Yeah.
I just looking through this, I've got shaker cabinets coming for the one I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I have shaker style doors, not as pretty as yours, but they're 2-panel, not 6 or 5. But I think I'm going to go home and rip out every bit of my casing and put up 1x4. Is that a decision that
you're an investor, right? You're an investor, right? So I do not recommend doing that. Do it on your next project. Yeah, it's just it's simple, and guess what? It's cheaper too. You know, a lot of people do the profile.
Doing that on everything?
I do that on every house because
This is just so shaker looking.
it is so shaker looking. I like to
modern.
carry the design, and it's modern. We tend to design a lot
We have
more
a very modern.
I swear I'm going home and doing it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just streamlined. You know, a lot of times you'll find profile trim in stock in Home Depot, Lowe's. That's what people often use. But I just like to keep it simple, classic.
Yeah, do you use the pre-painted 1x4 that is practically
So
pre-finished?
no, all downstairs was like finger joint wood because of the water. So you want to be careful about that. But up here is MDF. So
Oh, really?
yeah. At this price point, you don't need
And you
real
don't worry
wood.
if the door's real close to the corner where you can't get a full 1x4. You don't worry. You just cut it down.
Well, in the kitchen, we kind of had to do a little bit of a jut out because that door was the smallest exterior door we could get in and still make our kitchen work. So I do worry about it. I stay up at night thinking about it, but I make it work. Yeah,
It's not symmetrical. is
yeah.
that-
I make
The
it
queen
work.
of symmetry, right?
Yeah,
here.
I like things to be symmetrical. I like things to be streamlined. I don't like it to ever look like an afterthought.
What about windows that you just finish out sheetrock, no windows?
Yeah, so the decision to do that downstairs was because, as you probably saw, we had some softening we had to do in order to get our ductwork and our plumbing in there, and I couldn't actually bring the trim wrapped around the three sides on all the basement windows, so I elected to do the sheetrock corners and have none of that, but just do the stool, so at least it gave it a prominent place for somebody to set things on or what have
If
you.
you had your choice,
Then I
you
would have
kill
wrapped
them.
it.
You would have wrapped it.
Yes, yeah.
You had a question about financing?
Yeah. Financing, I see Baker Collins there. So is that who you use all the time?
No,
Do
Baker
y'all have-
Collins is a sponsor for the Atlanta REIA.
Okay, so who do you guys use for financing?
We use
How do
private
you
lenders.
recommend?
We do a lot of work with private lenders. That's one of the biggest things that I focused on over the last many years is just people are watching you as you start out. They want to see if this whole flipping houses thing is going to turn out well for you. So people were watching us for several years. You know, my history is when I started, I literally had lost a ton of money in another business with my family, and so not a lot of people trusted me with money at the time, let's say that. That's why the majority of the deals I started out with, I did use hard money. But over time, you know, people that had been watching me, and that's why, you know, having a social media presence, especially in this day and age, posting up pictures, doing Facebook Lives on our projects.
Social media is huge.
Huge, yeah. And it's
Huge.
I will have some of my lenders are now all my lenders are my friends, and they will text me from time to time. Hey, Bob called me about how it's like working with you, and I gave you like the biggest review ever, because they love it because they're getting double-digit returns, and they can't get that anywhere else. Secured by a hard asset. Like even if we didn't pay them back, this property is worth way more than the funds deployed on it right now, right?
Every single person you know in your life should know what you do.
Yes.
Basically,
That's
that's
amen.
like a key. If somebody does not know that you are investing in real estate so that you could have a conversation with them about their potential to invest in it, then you're not doing your job.
And I'm telling you, don't post crap.
Yeah, don't post that.
Don't post anything that's negative. And if you
Oh,
do a
yeah.
renovation that's what I call a lipstick on a pig,
Yeah.
don't post that stuff, because people will look at that and they want to see the TV shows.
Yeah.
They're going to gravitate towards the TV shows because that's what they watch on TV.
Yeah.
So when you do something, your friends and family are going to go, oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If you don't, they're going to compare that to TV.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, I'm telling you that it happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
Systems doesn't buy the same materials in every renovation you do, or it's like
Oh yeah.
cookie cutter. You know
most
what you're doing every
most of
single
the
time.
house. I mean, you seeing one of our houses, you've probably seen most of them now.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm the
Excuse
same
me.
way. I'm the same way.
I do not agree with that. I think every single house is very
Similar.
uniquely
Similar
designed.
is a good word.
But there are some similar trends that I will
Yeah.
carry throughout. Some go-to things. I don't do cedar shutters on all my houses, but I love it, and so I do it on a bunch of them.
But like
So-
the same, most of the time we'll do same paint colors, paint schemes,
Yeah,
same
same
flooring
trim.
I can
scheme,
show you
Same
4
doors.
black and white houses.
same
Same
cabinets.
doors.
Every
This
so
year.
often we'll trade out like
Yeah.
you know, a countertop.
And then switch up your
They look
stones.
great.
You can
Exactly.
switch up your stones, switch up your tiles, but for the most part, you keep things basic, systemized, so you're minimizing your work, you know, on the design side, but then you switch it up here and there. Hey, Floor and Decor came out with a new tile, or hey, I saw this on somebody's project. I want to try that out here, or I want to do this. You know, those incremental kind of switch ups when necessary, doing something like a front porch pergola just because you need your eye to not be stagnant on the house. So when necessary, you switch it up, but for the most part, yes, as an investor, it makes sense to keep things.
Yeah, where you're going to put your design and your flair or your imprint is going to be on your kitchen stone, your bathroom
Your
stone,
light fixtures.
your light fixtures.
And then also, like, the front door has to be a wow as soon as they open the front door. That's why Danielle's been debating what type of railings are we going to put. We're not going to put, like, Home Depot railings.
Yeah.
Nothing against Home Depot or Lowe's railings, but we know that's going to be a wow. We're going to do some sort of accent on that
I
wall.
was going to do iron railing, but that guy's out of town. So now I'm coming up with a really cool wood design to do to tie into my chandelier. That's going to be this really geometrical, interesting chandelier.
Yeah.
And then the pop of color in your door, that's huge for curb appeal. And I've been experimenting, you know. So I did a yellow door, and people thought I was crazy a couple weeks ago. It was like a lime yellow, but I loved it. It's the easiest thing a homeowner can repaint themselves. So this one, who knows what color I'll pick. But things like that, keep the same colors on your exterior. Like I have a gray I always use, a white that I always use, but then change up your front door colors.
Yep.
And then your system that you pick as far as materials, you already know what your cost is going to be, so you use the same
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that varies is the size, square footage of your house.
Typically, yeah. And then
That's
the market
that's why
also.
they can say, okay, I'm going to put in $70 a square foot. If they know on average, you can't have, no house is going to be 100% same as the next one.
Yeah.
But as a general rule,
No, I don't mind.
they're going to say, okay, we
I don't
typically
mind,
spend
but there's no
$70 a
counter.
square foot. So they can come in here and go, okay, on a calculator before as they're putting it under contract, go, I think we're going to spend 70 or $70 a square foot. They already know that number. But then they come in and they go, okay, well, we don't have to do a roof on this one, so we don't have to do that, and we don't have to do this, but we do have to do this.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be shifting stuff.
Yeah.
But find yourself go-to products, and they're always going to be the same.
Now, what about area? Kirkwood versus another area?
Yeah, so that is a great question, right? So what about area? There are certain places where Danielle will not use any Lowe's or Home Depot fixtures, namely the east side. So when we're doing $500,000, $600,000, $700 ARV renovations, we're not using those higher end finishes.
And it's price point. It's like
price point.
300,000 and under, you know, like I might just get the chandeliers and the pendants or my master bedroom fixture, order online, and the rest we'll do Home Depot or Lowe's or something. Whereas now this is going to be above 300,000. Everything I've sourced online, everything special order, Amazon, Build, what are some of the All Modern? These are a bunch of the websites that I'll order from. And so I don't suggest that for everybody, especially when you have a general contractor who's sourcing a lot of your materials. What I do suggest that for is your wow, you know, your chandelier, any pendants you have, those wow fixtures. You want to be able to source those and have it feel special and not like everybody else has seen it in Home Depot or Lowe's a million times. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think price point's important, right? Don't overdo it, don't underdo it, do it just right or a smidge above. That's what we're always going for. The reason we're able to break price per square foot records typically is because we go just a smidge over what the rest of the renovators are doing, you know? And that smidge costs us, I'm not kidding, maybe $1,000 more, right? On the whole project. But as a result, we get 5 or 10 or 15 grand more than the next guy.
Yep. Yeah, and then you were talking about the stone and tile. That automatically, when I go up in my ARV, my sale price of my home, that's where I'm going to spend more money. I might keep the same trim, same doors, same things like that, but I'm going to spend more money on those wow design features.
Yep.
All right, we got any final questions from the audience before we wrap things up?
I see some pizza.
We got 3 pizzas over here. You guys got any questions before we wrap up?
All right, thank you, everybody.
Well, hey, before you wrap up, do you two have any final words of advice or wisdom for these folks who want to get out and fix and flip?
Yeah, go out, meet a lot of people, and get in touch with people that can provide you with opportunities like deals, also money. You definitely want money, and then drive around and find contractors. Those are some of the best ways. We do a lot of wholesaling as well, so you can follow us. M2 Rest is our company name, and then people always ask me after an event like this, how do I get in touch with you? I don't give my phone number out because I suck at returning phone calls, to be honest with you. So I always say find me on Facebook. It's Malhar Bhagat. I'm Dustin's friend, so if you can find Dustin, you can find me. All right. So yeah, that's how you can find both.
You gonna spell your last name for him?
Yeah, it's B as in boy, Hagat. G as in girl, A-T as in Tom. Malhar, M-A-L-H-A-R. So if you were at this event, my name's right there on the flyer. So
yep.
That's how you.
And I'll be posting this up online too, and I'll tag them in it. You got any final remarks?
Nothing. I can't wait for you to see her when she's all wrapped up and pretty. And thank you so much for all joining, and have a great day.
Yeah, when you get it listed, send me a link, and I'll throw the
that would be great.
the photos and the stage
I'd love
photos.
for you all
That
to
would
see
be
the
awesome.
stage final pictures.
And we're looking for deals. So if you got
Deals
deals,
at
we're
M2
buying.
Rest.
We're buying deals.
Yes.
Always.
deals too.
Yeah.
All
Everyone's
right,
looking
good
for
job, everybody.
Any closing remarks?
No, just very nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the staged finished product.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see the railing, and
Yeah.
how you finish that.
Yeah.
So I
Me
think that's
too.
really cool. So good job.
Thank you.
Let's give it up for these guys for being here today and giving it.
By the way,
Let's see their
if
house.
anybody wants to come tomorrow night for PPG, it's at the Buford office. So if you don't-
1960 Schuyler Hill
if you
Drive.
don't know
That's
what
the
that
property
is, talk
protege
to
group.
myself, Dustin, or Chrissy, and we'll explain to you what it is. Otherwise, thank you very much.
All right, thanks
Thank you,
guys. Give it up one more
guys.
time.